one of you. This is L. Shalini representing Ryan Publishers, and I would like to take this opportunity to thank you all for your participation and for taking time out and joining us today in this webinar. I would further request you all to make this session more interactive by posting questions or queries in the YouTube chat box, which will be discussed at the end of the webinar session. I would like to inform you all that the link to the feedback form will be posted in the YouTube chat box and shared in the WhatsApp group at the end of the session. And owing to certain limitations in the number of e-certificates being generated per day, kindly expect to receive the certificates within 2 to 3 working days in case you haven't received it on the same day. The topic for today's session is research paper publication in Scopus indexed journals, and we at Ryan Publishers feel privileged to have Dr. Rahul Vishwanath Dange as our resource person for today's session. Dr. Rahul Dange is well experienced and highly skilled academician, contributing his time and effort in the fields of study and research. He obtained a PhD in mechanical engineering from Sardar Patel College of Engineering, University of Mumbai in the year 2019. He holds ME in mechanical production engineering from KITS College of Engineering, Shivaji University, the year 2010. He completed his BE in Mechanical Engineering from Phenolics Academy of Management and Technology, University of Mumbai, the year 2001. Dr. Rahul has around 15 years of teaching experience and 3 years of industrial experience. Currently, he is the HOD of the Automobile Engineering Department of Rajendra Mani College of Engineering and Technology, Ambab, Beirut. He holds 3 research paper publications in Scopus indexed journals, 7 in UGC approved ISSN journals, 1 international journal, and 3 book chapter publications as well. He has also presented several research papers at national and international conferences. He is an active member of the reviewer panel for the editorial board for journal publications and a member of the reviewer panel for conferences. Dr. Rahul has delivered expert lectures, webinars on research publications on several occasions. Talking about his achievements and accomplishments, he has received the Best Teacher and the Best Research Paper Award at RMCET Ambab and received consistent student feedback for all the semesters and considerably good results for the subjects administered by him. He has handled additional responsibilities apart from his routine work, and his research work primarily focuses on modeling risk in international projects. Having said this, I would now like to request Dr. Rahul V. Dange to kindly take over this session. Over to sir.
A very good evening to all the participants. Am I audible?
Yes, sir, you're audible.
Okay. So, thank you, Shalini madam, for a nice introduction.
Sir.
I will like to share my PPT. Please check whether the presentation is visible.
The presentation is visible, sir.
Yes. Okay. So, very good evening to all the participants. As a resource person, I am really overwhelmed to see the response within a week to this international webinar which is organized by Ryan Publishers, Trichy. The topic of our webinar or topic of discussion is research paper publication in Scopus Index journals. As a research scholar or those who are doing, am I audible?
Yes, sir, you are audible, sir. You can continue, sir. It is audible.
But some participant is saying can't hear, no sound.
I think maybe they are having some network issue from their side.
Network issue might be there. Okay,
Yeah.
but almost all the participants, they are hearing me.
Yeah,
Able to
yes,
hear.
sir. It's audible.
You are
Okay,
audible.
thank you very much. Thank you very much. So, whenever we go for our higher education, maybe our post-graduation or our research doctorate studies, as an academician, it becomes very necessary that whatever work we are doing, it should get reflected in terms of the publication, so that the credit of the work which is done should come to us, and those who want to go for any kind of research in that particular area, whenever they go for searching the research work done earlier, our name should get highlighted by the search engines, and that is nothing but the credibility of our research work. So, keeping in view with this, research is important, but equally it is important that the research work should get published, and not only get published, it should get published in very reputed journals at the international level. And now, as you all are knowing this, that the criteria to decide the reputation of journals in many countries, it is the indexing of the particular journal, and Scopus indexing is supposed to be a benchmark. If the journal is getting indexed in Scopus ranking, Scopus database, then we say that the journal is a extremely reputed journal. So, keeping in view with this, the webinar has been organized. Before we start with the webinar, already Shalini madam has given a extremely nice introduction about me. I am not expert in the research paper, I can say, because nobody is expert in this field. Everybody is learning, and as an academician, we always say the lifelong learning is a trait of any researcher, because every time from everyone we learn something, and if we incorporate those learnings into our day-to-day life, definitely our profile go on building up to a greater extent. So this is my brief profile, and I hope with everyone's blessing and everyone's support, the profile goes on stronger and stronger day by day. Okay. So these are some of the journals for which regularly I am doing the work as a reviewer for many papers. So I thought whatever experience I have received while writing the papers, getting the rejections, getting the acceptance, and then now as a reviewer for many papers, whatever experiences I am getting, I should go for sharing with the audience, and might be many people will be knowing about many things what we will be discussing, because nowadays everybody is trying to explore knowledge, and during this pandemic, as a reviewer for many papers. So, any disturbance, audio?
Participants can kindly mute your audio and video.
Yes, thank you. So, this is just a knowledge sharing. It is not something like teaching something or expert talk. It is knowledge sharing, something which I will be sharing might be new to you, and I will also get some input from our discussion. So that is how I am looking forward to this particular session. Coming to my institute, this is a brief introduction and overview about the institution from which I belong to. This is the Engineering and Management Institute affiliated to university. These are the credits of my institute. The outline for today's webinar. This is the brief outline which already was given in the flyer, and also the video, a short video which was published before this webinar to give the overview of this particular webinar. So these are some of the contents which we'll be rushing through in this particular webinar. The initial part is more of a standard, or we can say it is one introductory part for the research paper, which might be more than 60% people will be knowing. It will be just a review for them. But I am taking this, I have put the contents keeping in view that even if any beginner attending this webinar, you should know right from start what this all research paper publication is about. Okay. So keeping in view all these things, I have tried to put the contents in this webinar. So let us start with the first basic concept. We are talking about the research paper publication in Scopus Index, but might be somebody will be having a doubt to what we should call it as a research paper, or what do we mean by research paper. So some formal definitions from, if you Google it, you may also get all these definitions on various published articles and published books. Okay. It is a form of academic writing in which author should locate information about the topic, take a stand on the topic, and provide support for that position in an organized manner. So this is very important. We should have some topic. If we want to write a research paper, we should have certain topic for which we are going to conduct the research. Then we should have something of our own. We should try to put some knowledge into the domain which is already existing for that topic, and take certain firm position on that particular topic, and then provide some support, evidences, some observations, some calculations, why that particular position we have achieved for the particular topic. And all these things we have to put in some organized manner, because research paper, it has got some definite structure. Whenever we want to write a research paper, it should not be like a disorganized article. If you want to write a simple article in newspaper, you may go on writing it just paragraphs and paragraphs. But if you want to write a research paper, there is certain standard format. Slightly you modify the format, journal to journal, some format might be changed, but there is certain framework in which you have to fit all this data, all these contents, whatever you have. So a substantial piece of academic writing in which author does independent research into a topic and writes a description of the finding of the research. So findings are more important. It is a scholarly article that contains results of original research or an evaluation of research conducted by others. Sometimes we can write a research paper based upon what research we have done. It might be some very innovative research, or sometimes many other people have done some research work and we are trying to do the evaluation of this research work, comparing their research, and then try to find out certain outcomes, certain findings, and certain implications of those research which is conducted by others. So that can be also a form of research paper. Some classification of research papers: either you can have a plain research paper where it is a report on any type of research undertaken by the author. We can have purely technical research paper where it describes and evaluates technical products, processes, or services. There can be some research papers which are conceptual ones, so they are moreover based on empirical research, which is developing certain hypotheses, and we are trying to cover philosophical discussions and comparative studies of other works and some thinking on those research works. There can be some research papers based upon certain case studies conducted in a certain domain, or there can be some research papers which are purely state-of-the-art literature review kind of research papers, where over a period of time, whatever research papers they have got published in reputed journals, if you take a review of all, then we can write a state-of-the-art research paper. Coming to the next part, the structure of research paper. If you go for structure of research paper, this is a diagram which is given by one author. This is the source mentioned for the author. In this particular diagram, you can see this is a pillar kind of structure, and if you go for this right hand side portion, then this is our title, which should be a brief title giving enough information about what the research paper is all about. Then this is the abstract. The shape itself gives us the way abstract should be written. Then narrow down to the at the end of abstract, you should go for general what way the abstract should be written. Again, when contents of your paper, briefly or broadly, they are divided into three parts: introduction, body, and discussion. So looking again to the shapes, you can see when you go for introduction, the introduction should start with a generalized or broader overview, and then it should go on narrowing down towards the main contents of your research work. Once you complete this introduction work, then you should go to the main contents, the main body of your research, which may be having the particulars like the methods used, the experimental setup what you have used, the sample set, sample design for your survey data if you have conducted any surveys, and finally certain experimentation done and the outcomes. Finally, when you go to the last part, that is discussion, then again you have to start with your core research work, which is very narrow down, and then go on broadening it at the end to the generalized level. So this is how we have to write the research paper. So we have to start with the broader perspective, go on narrowing down, at the end again from the narrow perspective we have to go for broader perspective, and finally we have to add all the references, all the literature, whatever we have reviewed, whatever we have taken the support of, those all references we should list down in this last section. Okay. The basic parts will try to finish off the first portion slightly fast, so that we can go to the main agenda at the end in little more descriptive manner. Title of research paper, it is defined as fewest possible words that adequately describe the contents of the paper, because title is nothing but the identity of your paper. If you Google for any particular topic, the first thing what you will get is the titles of the paper, and reading the title, the audience should come to know what your research is all about. So if the title is self-explanatory, then the prospective author or prospective audience will try to go for searching the detail or the entire contents of your research paper. It is a part of paper that is read the most. It is usually read first, and most often it is the only thing that is read. Why we say it is the only thing that is read? Because if the title is not found appropriate, people will not click on the link and go for reading your abstract or your paper. Simply they will feel that this is not appropriate paper, we should go for some next. Electronic indexing services rely heavily on the accuracy of the title to allow users to find papers that are relevant to their research. So nowadays we are going for electronic indexing services. So whenever we go for indexing, the indexing uses your title basically to list your paper to the tentative audience who is looking for certain papers. The title should not be too long or it should not be too short. So some journals, they give some word limit that it should not be more than 12 words, 15 words, or the title should be 8 to 15 words, something like this. So we have to make ourselves convenient to the rules and regulations of the journal for which you are submitting the paper, and normally the word limit which is given is considering that it should not be too short and too long. The title should be descriptive and it should be well informative. Okay. Coming to the next part, that is abstract. After title, what the audience will read is about your abstract, because as you know, in many cases, if the paper is not from any open source or open access journal, then the audience will not be able to read the complete paper. What they will able to read is, they will be able to read only the title and abstract and the keywords. If they want to read the entire research paper, might be they need to pay something and then only they will be able to download the research paper. So that's why the second thing after title, which is more important, is your abstract. This abstract basically it is comprises of one paragraph summary of the whole paper. They are more becoming important because electronic publication databases are primary means of finding research reports in certain subject area today. The abstracts can be of two types, either they can be informative or they can be descriptive abstracts. Okay. Now, when we want to write any abstract, there are certain points we should keep in mind that what our abstract should contain. Okay. Some of the publications, like if you go for Emerald publications, they give this particular bullets. So that is a standard format in which Emerald journals expect the author to write the abstract. Okay. Out of this, some parameters, they are mandatory, like purpose you have to write, design, methodology, approach you have to write, you have to explain, findings you have to explain, research limitation, implications, they are mandatory, practical implications and social implications you may write, you may not write, it is optional, originality or value of your paper, it is again mandatory. So if you any Emerald journals, then you will find that the abstract has to be written in these particular parameters which are specified. Okay. Even though if you want to write your research paper for any other publication, we are demanding a single paragraph, but still my suggestion is, initially when you write your abstract, you write it in this particular format, keeping these all parameters, and then you remove these headings and then club it together to write one entire paragraph as the abstract. If you go for consideration of these parameters, then your abstract becomes a valuable abstract. There are no chances of missing something. Everything whatever is expected by the audience to read before reading the entire paper has finding its place in this particular format of the abstract. So because of this, these all parameters, they are very essential whenever you are writing your abstract for the paper. The most important point, as everybody might be knowing, even though the abstract appears at the beginning of research paper, but it must be written after completion of the entire research paper. So if your research paper is not complete, you cannot write your abstract. Why it is so? Because your abstract should contain these findings, research limitations, implications, and when this will come, when your entire research paper is completed, then only you will come to know what are the findings of the research work, what are the limitations and implications of this research work. So, even though your abstract is coming at the beginning, it must be written after completion of your entire research paper. Keywords, the third portion of your research paper, they are very essential part of research paper writing. Normally the keywords, they are the parameters which are used by the audience to search your research paper. So whatever keyword you have mentioned as your keyword and the words what the audience is putting in the search engine, if they are matching, your paper may get highlighted in that search engine for the particular audience. Even these keywords have got some importance as far as your review process is concerned, because based on whenever any reviewer is going for his registration on the particular journal website, what happens is they ask for the area of expertise, and in area of expertise we have to select some standard keywords which are available. And whenever there are some standard keywords which are available, they are selected by any researcher, any reviewer. Those standard keywords and the keywords whatever you have entered for your research paper, if they are matching, your research paper will be directed to the concerned reviewer so that his expertise and your research area, they will match each other and you will get a appropriate researcher for a reviewer for your research paper. Sometimes it is always better to use some buzzwords as your keywords, because that will enable your paper to get highlighted in the search engines. Like you might be knowing nowadays everywhere, Industry 4.0, Industry 5.0, these are some buzzwords in the industrial sector. So if your research paper is highlighting these words in the keywords, might be your paper will get more attention by the audience. Coming to the next part, that is introduction part. The introduction serves the purpose of leading the reader from general subject area to particular field of research. As we have seen the diagram, it is converging. Okay, so from general subject area to particular field of research, we are moving. Important points which we should consider while writing the introduction section is: bring out the importance of the subject, make general statements about the subject, present overview of current research on the particular topic, reveal what is the research gap, formulate the research question, outline the important results, and give brief outlook on structure of the paper. So how the paper is, how is the flow of your paper, what are the various contents, they should be highlighted in your introduction section. Literature review, most important part. Review of literature, it is essential part of academic research project. Review is a careful examination of body of literature pointing towards answer to the research question. So if your literature review is strong, then it becomes easier for you to find out the research gaps, and also it becomes easier to formulate your research questions. So this is depending upon how well you are making your literature review. So all good research writing are guided by review of the relevant literature. What is the importance? As we have discussed, it is very important to find out the research gaps, and it is also very important to frame your research question. Also, it is one of the key elements.
Join.
So you can continue.
Okay. So it is very essential, because one of the key elements that editors or reviewers they are looking at when reviewing the research paper is how in-depth literature review has been taken up, and That is one of the criteria to approve the paper for publication. Main body, it is normally depending upon the actual research work done. So in this, the contents may get slightly modified because everybody's research is different, and in this case your methodology, your experimentation model, your modeling tool used, your various methods applied, so these things will go on varying. So slightly this main body is flexible depending upon the type of research what you are undertaking. When we come to the end part, that is discussion, again from narrowing approach we have to go for a broader perspective. So in the last part there are various sections, sometimes results and discussion, that is one combined section. So in this case we have to put the results of water analysis we have done and its summary, some tabular formats we can use to display our results, and then in discussion we have to go on putting our discussion based upon the results what we have got, what we have obtained. Okay, so this discussion will always connect to the introduction by way of questions or hypothesis posed and the literature cited, but it does not simply repeat or rearrange the introduction. Instead, it tells how the study has moved us forward from the place left at the end of the introduction. So it bridges the gap, the point at which we have left the introduction, and then whatever we have considered in the literature review and the main body. So it continues from that point and gives us the perspective of the implications of your results with respect to the knowledge domain in which you are doing your research work. Coming to the last part, that is conclusions, limitations and future scope. So in conclusions we have to state the major findings of your studies, explain the meaning and importance of your findings, relate your findings similar to similar studies, also consider alternative explanation of the findings and state the relevance of the findings. Okay, so this is considered in the conclusions part. When you go for limitations and future scope, we have to frankly and honestly put whatever limitations we have observed for the research work, and then these research limitations are always giving a path for the future researchers to start their research work. So this is the point which most of the researchers will try to read, because they will take something from this as input and start their research work. So that's why, not from your perspective, but from your future generation, your junior researchers, this particular section will be very important. Last part is references. There are various referencing styles. Every journal, if you go to the website, they give the author guidelines, and in the author guidelines they mention about the type of referencing style it is expected by the particular journal. So this is one of the style, APS style, in which how we can go for citing the references or the research papers whatever we have considered. So this is some standard formats they have given. If you are going for book, then how should we go for giving references to the books, and if you are referring some journal paper, then how you should mention those journal papers in your references. So this is a standard APS style. Then coming to the next part, what do you mean by peer-reviewed journals? Because this is a buzzword. Normally people say you should publish your papers in peer-reviewed journals. So when we say peer-reviewed or referred journals, the journals are those in which the articles it contains, they have been examined by people with credentials in the article's field of study before it is getting published. So whatever research paper you are submitting, this research paper is getting examined by some people who are having certain credentials in that particular domain. it is not randomly. So the people who have some credentials, either they have some research paper publications in that domain, or their area of expertise has been claimed by some organizations in that particular domain, then those people will get connected to your research paper, they will examine it, and then if they recommend the paper for publication, then only it is going to get published. The numbers and kinds of manuscripts sent for review, number of reviewers, reviewing procedures, and use made of the reviewer's opinion may vary, and therefore each journal should publicly disclose its policies in the instruction to authors for the benefit of readers and potential authors. So normally if you go for any journal, the review policy is clearly mentioned. Okay, so what kind of review process will be there, what will be the tentative time duration. In some journals they also give the list of reviewers in their panel, so that you will come to know the expertise available with the journal in your particular domain. And also they try to give some journals, they try to give the data that how many papers have been received, how many papers have been reviewed, how many papers were accepted and how many papers were rejected, and how much is the percentage of acceptance or reject journals on their website. Coming to the peer review process, we should understand. So this is one of the very interesting cartoon which is available on internet. So this is a peer review process. There are so many hurdles, so many peer reviewers, we can say editorial board, editor-in-chief, handling editors, and peer review committee, which is there to assess your paper. And finally, if you satisfy these all people coming in way of your paper acceptance, then finally your paper will get accepted. The standard peer review process, this is for Taylor and Francis. You can start with step number 1, the editorial board. There will be some editor in charge. So he will receive the paper, what you have submitted through. Normally everybody is now using online manuscript submission system. So the editor will receive the paper. Initially the editor will check whether the paper is fitting into the aims and scope of the particular journal. If the paper is not fitting the aims and journals of the paper, then simply he will send back the paper to the author saying that this paper is not appropriate for that journal. So before you select your journal, we should check what are the aims and scope of the journal, what are the areas it is covering, and whether our research paper is falling in that particular area, that we should take into account. If that is fitting into the journal's aims and scope, then the editor will select some reviewers. Sometimes there are 2 reviewers, sometimes there are 3 reviewers, sometimes there are 4 reviewers also as per the journal policy. So that is upon the journals and their policies. The reviewers will get the research paper, they will review, provide the editor with the comments, suggestions and recommendations whether the paper should be rejected, it should be revised, or it should be accepted. Then the editor will check the review comments and then send them to the author with any additional comments, additional guidelines. If there are revisions, the author will decide whether to make the revisions and resubmit, or whether to come out of the process and send the paper to some other journal. If he submits the revised version, then amendments are made, paper is resubmitted, again it will go to the editorial office, again he will check, he will send to the reviewer, probably the same reviewers who have given the review comments earlier, because they will come to know whether those review comments have been taken care in the revision or not. Likewise, the review process will get continued. Finally, if the paper is accepted, it moves into production and then it is getting published. The purpose of review, what a reviewer will be looking to the research paper is, most importantly, whether the work is novel and is of high standards. The journal to which you are submitting every journal has its own standard. So whether the work is novel and it is matching to the standard of the particular journal, what are the main findings, whether the relevant work of other authors is appropriately acknowledged and references given to previous literature or not. Proper organization of the manuscript is also very important. Clarity in writing, what are figures you are entering, the tables you are putting, the data in the tables, the graphs whatever you are incorporating, and some illustrations, they are appropriate or not. Whether the experimental data support the declarations or not. If not, what other evidences may prove fruitful. Then the audience, probable audience, what kind of readers will be getting benefited from the manuscript and why they will be getting benefited, and in what further directions would it be feasible to take the current research work, so based upon your limitations and future scope. So these will be some of the parameters which will be taken as a guideline by the reviewer to review your paper. There are certain forms of peer review. Normally double-blind peer review process is used where the authors and the reviewers, they don't know each other, and this is a very are recommending the paper is accept without revision. So this is very rare case, because I think might be only 5% paper will have this kind of review report or review result in the first submission itself. Second is minor revisions. The paper is good, no serious problems, but some revisions, some points, they are required to be modified. So that is another case. Sometimes the paper is acceptable, but some significant problems are appearing. So there need to be reanalysis, rewriting, some figures to be changed, something to be added, something to be deleted, something like this. So if our paper is getting in these two categories, minor revisions and major revisions, we should be more than happy in the first submission that at least our paper is good, and the reviewers are encouraging us to revise our paper. Reject with encouragement to resubmit. So in this case, the manuscript is looking promising, but it has got sufficient deficiencies, significant deficiencies. So they are encouraging the author to completely revise the paper. The paper is rejected, but it has got certain potential. So you can revise the entire manuscript and resubmit. Okay? And the unwanted, unexpected, what we say is the reject. So paper is inappropriate to journal or it is inadequate. The editors can reject even without review. There is always some random element because reviewers and editors are human. So occasionally there can be some occasions or some instances where the paper might be good, but sometimes the things are not in our hand, so it might get rejected. Standard timeline for paper publication. So this is in general, journal to journal, it can vary, but most reputed Scopus Index journal, they will take this particular timeline for paper publication. First 1 to 3 months after your submission, the time will be spent by editorial board to give the first response based upon appropriateness, plagiarism, assigning the reviewers, etc. Then getting the first review is almost 2 to 3 months. Time given for resubmitting paper after modifications. Let us say fortunately we get the review as minor modifications required or major modifications required. So 1 or 2 months will be given. Once you submit it, then again to get the review for the revised manuscript, 1 or 2 months will be given to the reviewer. Then if your paper gets accepted, then the copyright form will get immediately. After submitting the copyright form, you will get the manuscript for proofreading in the journal's printing formats. So 1 month after that, and once you submit the proof of your manuscript, then almost after 1 or 2 months, it will get published online. Now almost all the journals, they publish the papers online first, because to get the volume and issue number, it takes certain time. So that depends upon how many research papers have been accepted, and each issue, how many papers will be contained. So based upon that, that time will be varying. But roughly we can say, right from the moment you submit the paper to finally it gets the publication and its volume and issue number, we can consider that approximately 1 year or more than that it is required for standard journals. Some of the reputed publications whose most of the journals, they are ranked or they are appearing in the Scopus database. Elsewhere, Emerald Insight, Taylor and Francis, Springer, then EnderScience and Wiley. So these are some of the reputed publications whose journals, almost many of these publisher journals, they are indexed in the Scopus indexing. What is the importance of indexing? Nowadays, there are various indexings available, but out of these all indexings, most considered indexings are the Scopus indexing or Web of Science indexing or ABDC indexing. So Scopus indexing, if you go to scopus.com, then simply you can go for search, like I will try to give the Scopus preview by sharing this tab. So whether the Scopus website is visible? Shalini madam?
Yes, sir.
Scopus website is visible. I have shared the
Yes, sir, it's visible.
Scopus web. So in this case, whatever journal you are searching, we should try to check, because many journals on their website they say they are Scopus indexed, but we should go for the original Scopus website, try to put the journal name in the sources searching and check. Either here they have mentioned Scopus coverage year from 2008 to present. So at present also this is indexed in the Scopus indexing. Sometimes some journals this year might be 2018, 2019. So till that time it was there in Scopus indexing. Afterwards it has got removed from that. So if you go to this, you will come to know how reputed this journal is. So using the site score, let us say now we are in 2020. For last year, 202 documents were published from 2016 to 2019, and those documents, they have got 647 citations. So 3.2 is the site score for this particular journal. So likewise, you can get in particular domain what is the rank of this journal. It is at number 87 out of the 394, 70th percentile, or in strategy and management domain it is 120th rank out of 427. So likewise you will come to know whether the journal is Scopus indexed or not, and also what is the of the particular journal, whether that journal is really reputed one or not, that we will come to know. Now coming back to the presentation again, other type of indexing is Web of Science. So this is by Clarivate. This is also one of the important indexing used worldwide. Third type of indexing is ABDC list of journals. It is Australian Business Deans Council. If you refer to the 2019 list, then there are 2,682 journals, out of which they come into 4 categories: A star and then A, B, C. So this is the highest category. So 7.41% only they are in this category. You can see most of the journals they are falling in this C category, 982, and B category it is 850. So at the start, as a beginner, we can go for selecting some journals from B or C category, and as we go on more and more publications and get some expertise, then we should move forward to the A or A star category. H index, now this many people they ask about the H index for researcher or an institution, or it might be for some journal. This H index depends upon the number of citations any paper or the papers they have received for any particular journal. Okay, so let us say any author has several papers. Those papers, if they are put in descending order as per their citations, so this is having highest citation, then this is second paper with next citations, third paper, fourth paper, they are equal citations, fifth paper. Likewise, there are n number of papers. There are some papers which have not received any citations, so 0 citations. So that can also happen. In that case, your H index will be calculated as more than 8 citations. How many papers? H papers having more than or equal to H citations. That is called as your H index. We'll take an example. Let us say a researcher, he is having 5 publications, A, B, C, D, E. The number of citations they have received in descending order are 10, top citations 8, 5, 4, 3. Now if we want to calculate the H index for this, what we observe is A, B and C, these are the 3 papers, or A, B, C and D, these are the 4 papers which have more or equal to 4 citations. So this has got 4, this has got 5, this has got 8, this has got 10. So there are 4 papers which are having equal to or more than 4 citations. So H index for the researcher will be 4. If I take a researcher B, he has got 6 publications, A, B, C, D, E, F. These are the number of citations. You can see for this author, maximum number of citations are only 10. For this author, the maximum number of citations are 25. But as compared to this paper, if you go for other papers, then the citations, if you see 8, 5, 3, 3, then what we observe is there are 3 papers, 25, 8 and 5. They are having 3 or more than 3 citations. I cannot take A, B, C, D, E because they are equal to 3, but the number is now 5 papers, 4 papers. So this number should be identical with number of papers and number of citations. They should either match, or number of papers should be, or the citation should be more than that number of papers. So 3 papers have citations more than or equal to 3. That's why the H index for this author is 3. Okay. This H index will grow as your citations will go on accumulating, and hence they depend upon the academic age of the researcher. I will just like to show one actual case, sharing my own Google Scholar profile. So you can see the H index is 3, and you can see the citations 26, 22, 10, and then it is 2, 2, 1. So what we observe is there are 3 papers which have got 3 or more than 3 citations. We cannot consider this paper because it has got less than 3 citations. So that's why H index is 3. There is one more index defined by Google Scholar, that is I-10 index. This is nothing but what? The publications which have at least 10 citations. Okay. So now you can see 10, 22, 26. So there are 3 citations which have got 10 or more than 10 citations. So that's why my I-10 index is also 3. So likewise, we can have our H index or we can have our I-10 index. So I-10 index is defined by Google Scholar itself. So this is about I-10 we have just now seen. There are certain suggestions, some important points we should keep in mind or checklist. Choosing the right journal by understanding the scope and indexing of the journal. So what is the scope of the journal and whether the journal is indexed in Web of Science, Scopus, ABDC list, that we have to ensure before we submit our paper. Reading carefully the instruction to the author, because every journal they give clear-cut instructions how to prepare the manuscript and how to submit the paper. So we should carefully read the instructions and follow one by one, and strictly we should follow the instructions. Giving proper attention to the appropriate literature published in recent 5 years in the reputed journals as well as the journals of same publication. Most importantly, recent publications, they should be covered because the recent research work has to be taken into account. Also, we should take care that the journals of same publications, they should get referred in the references. Giving citations to the papers published in the same journal or publication, that is one thumb rule, so that the cite score for the journal will also get increased because of the citations provided. Careful attention toward the grammar and punctuation, because this is very essential, and many times the reviewers mention that we have to take care of the grammar and punctuations or the language which is used for the research paper. And once you get the review result, then each and every issue, whatever has been mentioned by the reviewer, it should be responded with due respect. If we cannot modify it according to the reviewer's expectations, then we should politely give explanation why it cannot be modified and why it should be kept as it is, as you have mentioned. What will be the effect of this poor grammar, spelling and punctuation? Sometimes it can lead to misinterpretations and ambiguities. It can give impression of lack of care in preparation. So the reviewer may feel the manuscript is prepared in a hurry. There is no care taken while preparing the manuscript. Suggest perhaps other aspects of the paper are careless. So the impression may get worse. Make them more critical about the paper than otherwise. So the grammatical, spelling mistakes, punctuation mistakes, they might upset the reviewer and he might give comment on our research paper. What we should do is, to avoid this, write the complete sentences. The sentences should not be too long, they should not be too short, they should not be like a paragraph. Use commas properly. Be consistent with the tense what you are using. Don't use like this, don't, couldn't, can't. Write in reasonably sized paragraphs. So paragraph should be short, only 2-3 lines paragraph, or they should not be like a single page as one paragraph. And get your manuscript checked for grammar, spelling, punctuation from some English language expert or by some professional tool, like Grammarly is one of the tools which gives you many mistakes what you have committed with respect to the grammar, spelling, punctuation, etc. Common mistakes which will lead to rejection of the paper is, first and foremost, the journal selection itself is wrong, then your paper will not get forwarded to the reviewer itself. Plagiarisms, that is one of the many journals, they have some set level of plagiarism, that 20%, 25% plagiarism will be accepted, but more than that it will be rejected. Bad preparation of the manuscript. So if your manuscript itself is not good enough, not organized well, then it will lead to rejection. Poor literature survey, very few papers referred, or the important papers in that field, they are not referred, then it can lead to rejection. Weaker presentation of the results, because ultimately the results are more important the results how you represent, that is very important. Insignificant conclusions. So finally your conclusions has to be some meaningful conclusions, they should be presented. And poor response to the reviewers. So as we mentioned, whatever comments they have given for each and every aspect, we should respond with due respect. So if the response to the reviewer comments is not proper, then also it can lead to rejection in the latter stage of review. Sometimes if we are interested to write a literature review, then how we should proceed? Because many times when you register for PhD as a research scholar, the first step what we want to do is you have to find out the research gap. And finding out the research gap, we should conduct the literature review. And when we have conducted a strong literature review, then obviously if we can convert that literature review into a paper, it is always beneficial. So we have to select appropriate topic, identify primary, secondary keywords for searching the published literature. Some time span we have to decide, but ideally around 10 or more than 10 years time span should be considered for all the literature published in that particular time span. Preferably we should exclude the conference papers, thesis, research papers from non-reputed journals. So we'll have selected journals and the research papers published. Select the research papers from reputed publication journals. Give more weightage to the publication in which paper is proposed to publish. Identify various parameters to be analyzed through the literature review, like we may classify the literature based upon the journals. We may have classification based upon the application. We may have classification of the papers based upon the method used, the year of publication, objectives of your research paper, etc. Then some experience I want to share about my research paper submission and some rejections and some acceptances. Whenever you get acceptance of paper, this is one of the paper which got accepted. The draft of the email was like this. Always it is beneficial to get connected with platforms like ResearchGate so that we can get connected with similar research interest people. Also, we should select the reputed journal which is open access. If we select the open access journal which is Scopus Index, then we always get maximum audience and there are more chances that the paper will get maximum citations because the paper will be free to the audience. The published work, it should be shared with the researchers on their request. If we are on ResearchGate and the people are requesting our research work, then we should share our published work with them. We should create Google Scholar profile and ORCID profile. That is important. My sincere thanks and gratitude to my research supervisor, Dr. S.S. Mantha, who was ex-chairman for AICT New Delhi. My mentor for PhD, Dr. Santosh Rane from SPCA Mumbai. Dr. Vanita Bhula, who is Head of Project Management Department at SPJIMR Mumbai. Dr. M.M. Bhagwat, who is Principal of my institution. Rian Publishers for conducting this webinar. All the reviewers and editorial board members of various journals from whom I have learnt a lot. My family members, friends and well-wishers, those who have supported me in my research journey. 3 research papers which have been published till now in the Scopus Index journals and 2 more, they are under review stage for 2 different journals. So this is my contact number, mail ID. So those who want to get associated for any further discussions, any further association, they can WhatsApp me on my number, they can call me, or you can mail your requirements to me. I will be very happy to reply to your emails and all. So I thank. Before I conclude, I just wanted to share two different things. Is it possible, ma'am? Do we have some time? Some
Yes, sir.
5-10 minutes.
Yeah, no problem. Yeah. No problem, sir.
Okay. Thank you very much. I wish to share one sample research paper, which is purely a literature review paper, and how a best literature review paper is.
Sir,
So there's a question from one of our participants.
Okay.
If any paper which has been indexed earlier in Scopus by UGC care list, which is now removed, will be counted further in PhD or for promotion?
Actually, our government policies, they are slightly changing day to day. So we are not sure about what is going to happen. They prepared a UGC care consortium. Then they published some 3 lists. One published in Scopus Index Journal, one list for journals in Web of Science, and third was Indian journals, which are recommended by certain universities. But afterwards they removed everything, and at present there is a question mark upon which journals they are actually going to refer. But still, if we are trying to find out our papers published in Scopus Index journals, definitely it might be any kind of indexing, any kind of criteria. Those will get the definitely weightage as far as our academics and UGC is concerned.
Thanks. So most of our participants are requesting you to share the PPT.
Yes, if you wish to have the PPT, then through Ryan Publishers, I will share it. There is no issue. We will mail it to the participants. No problem.
Thanks. So
Okay.
we are still waiting.
Even
If there are
that-
any other questions?
Even sample literature review paper, what I have shown, I was trying to show. Unfortunately, I couldn't share it afterwards. So even we can share it with the participants.
So there's a question from another participant. They are asking like, how do we identify a fake journal?
How we identify
A fake journal.
fake journal? Okay.
Yes.
So basically, now we should go for the scopus.com site and try to put the journal name. If that is getting indexed in Scopus database, we should believe or we should blindly follow the journal. There is no issue. If that journal is not indexed in Scopus database, then we should not go for publishing our paper in that. And also, if the journal is demanding charges for publishing, then preferably we should keep ourselves from this kind of journals which are asking author to pay money to get his research work published.
So there is another question. There's a participant who is asking you to suggest some of the best journals in India.
Some of the best journals in India.
Yeah.
So if you go for the Scopus database, then there are very few journals from Indian publishers they are getting indexed. So we should not depend or we should not keep ourselves limited only to the Indian publishers. We should go for the journals which are reputed globally, and that is how our research work will get more and more what we say acknowledgement in the research fraternity.
Thanks. And there's a question from another participant who asks, what is JCC impact factor?
Which JCC?
JCC impact factor. So they are asking the meaning of that.
Normally impact factors, they are calculated for journals, and there are various methodologies or there are various platforms. They are calculating this impact factor for journals. but normally that SNIP is considered to be a good impact factor. So I am not sure about that JCC.
Thank you, sir. We are still waiting for any other questions from the participants. And there's a question like a while ago we were discussing about a sample literature review. So
Yeah.
the participant is asking about the successful way of writing a literature review.
A successful way of writing literature review, as I mentioned in the PPT or that showing the paper also, then we have to take around 10 to 15 years as a period over which we should go for considering the papers published in the reputed journals, and then we should be able to classify them according to the various parameters like the methodology which is used.
Hello, sir, you're not audible to us.
Am I audible now?
Yeah, you're audible right now.
So we should basically able to classify the journals whatever we are referring into different parameters, and that will make us enable to write a good literature review paper.
Thank you. There's another
Somebody,
question.
yeah.
Yeah, go ahead, sir.
No, somebody is asking if any journal is Scopus indexed
Yeah.
without impact factor, then we can proceed for selecting the journal or not. So basically it is indexed in Scopus, so that itself is a credential of the journal. Impact factor, sometimes if the journal is new, then impact factor is most time calculated based upon the citations received for the journal. So if the journal is new, it takes time to get the citations for the papers published. So the impact factor will come up in the latter stage, but if the journal is Scopus indexed, then definitely it has been reviewed and it is a reputed journal, because unless and until it is reputed and quality journal, it will not get indexed into Scopus database.
So there's another question like the participant is asking like how to differentiate between writing an abstract and an introduction.
Okay, what should be difference between writing abstract and introduction for paper? Okay, so in abstract normally we have certain limitation that abstract should be of 200 words or it should be maximum 300 words. So we have got certain limitation. So more or less we are trying to give the similar kind of information in the abstract and introduction part, but in abstract we have limitations, so we have to give everything in brief. When you go for introduction section, you have some liberty, you can go on expanding the things which have been briefly mentioned in the abstract.
So is there, there's a question like how to find Web of Science journals.
Web of Science, I will just go to my slide.
Oh,
So is it visible? Web of
Yes.
Science indexing. Yeah, this is the website. This website we can go for, and then we can go for putting the journal, whatever we want to search in that website. It is not Web of Science like website. It is mzl.clarivate.com. So on Clarivate you can get the Web of Science indexing.
so there's another question.
Okay.
Is it mandatory to give citation while writing a research paper?
Is it mandatory to give citation
Yeah.
while writing research paper? Yes, definitely, because for reviewer there is one question whether the paper is giving proper justice to the literature published in that area till now. So if we don't give citations, then we are committing some mistake, that the people who have done some work in that area, we are not acknowledging their work. So it is necessary that we should refer to their work and we should provide citation, because otherwise we may fall under the category of some plagiarism or other things. So the people whose work we are referring to, we should give proper citation to their work done. That is very important.
Thank you, sir.